Welcome. Good morning, everyone. I love that new countdown music. It gets me pumped and excited. Um, Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this introduction to Google Suite for Education. My name is Trent Lobsher, and I am a technology program specialist with the Department of Educational Technology here in Palm Beach County. And with me today is...
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Rebecca Smekla. I'm also a technology program specialist in Ed Tech here with Trent. Glad to be here.
And we have also with us today Ashley, our sign language interpreter.
Hello, thank you for having me.
All right. So we're going to get into it, and thanks for being here, Ashley. We're going to get into it and go over a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So in this course, we are going to be previewing a number of essential tools, well, at least a few essential tools in the Google Suite for Education. So by the end of the session, you're going to know how to access a number of tools and apps in the G Suite, and you're also going to learn how to navigate your Google Drive, and then hopefully get a few ideas for how you can implement some of these tools and use them in both your classrooms and your professional planning.
So as Trent mentioned, this is just going to be an overview of many of the Google applications that are available to all of our teachers here in the district. And what we wanted to direct you to is our website, which is edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. And on this website, we have a comprehensive list of all of these applications. We have videos, we have training resources, we have posters that you can download. We have all kinds of resources for you. Because each of these applications could be their own training, this is going to be a broad overview. So if you have additional questions, if you go to our website on the left-hand side, there's a Livestream resources tab. And if you click that, you'll see each one of these applications with tons and tons of resources for you. So we just want you to be aware of that resource and how it can benefit you. Before we get started, though, and Trent's going to go live with us today, there are a few housekeeping we like to go over. We do have a chat going on YouTube right now. We have moderators in the chat. They have the little blue wrench by their names. And the reason that we have our moderators in the chat is because we are actually coming to you from the future. We're about 20 seconds ahead of you. So when you have questions, our moderators are there to answer those for you. As always, the session is being recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel as well as our EdTech training website following the session. Please like our video, subscribe to our channel. Once you subscribe to the channel, if you click the bell, it'll send you a notification anytime we're about to go live so you can stay in the know with us. We also have been having some fun with our live streams, and we've been doing some workshop selfies. So please feel free to take your workshop selfie today if you're joining us. Post it on Twitter, tag us with ETPBC Summer PD and at EdTechPBC. We would love to see your faces and how excited you are to be with us today.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. And speaking of excited, I'm excited. I hope you're excited. We're going to get into our overview. And as Rebecca said, this is an overview, right? We're not going to go into crazy amounts of detail. What our goal is to get you using Drive and the G Suite apps in just a functional way. Dive in, learn a little bit about what's available to you and how to use things at the most efficient way. And you know, just use them to your advantage. Keep in mind, these are not things that you have to use. They are things that you get to use to make your job just a little bit easier. So let's start off very simply. What is G Suite for Education? So there's a detailed answer and then there's a simple answer, right? The detailed answer is that the G Suite tools are web-based applications, right? They allow you to plan and implement standards-based lessons to help meet the needs of your diverse learners. The tools that you have available to you help you organize your students to interact with the content of lessons, and help you create engaging and rigorous environments. So with these, you can preview and identify critical content all the way to practicing and deepening their knowledge in the classroom. But you know, outside of the classroom in your planning, they're designed to improve your workflow, your productivity, and make your life just a little bit easier.
Yeah, so think about when you're using your phone, right? Your apps. That's the same thing with the G Suite. These are applications that are going to make your life easier, The great thing about our G Suite is that they're ad free. They're available on any device, any platform. So whether you're using a Chromebook, a MacBook, an iPad, your phone, they're always going to be available to you 24/7. And it's one login for everything. So we're going to be taking a tour of these apps today.
Okay, so step one, how do you access all of this, and where should you begin? Let's say that you're a brand new teacher to the district. How do you sign in to the portal, and how do you start accessing the G Suite apps? So the good news is that everything is kind of consolidated into one place. It's called the App Selector. Once you get signed in through the portal, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, you'll click. It's a grid. It's a 9x9 grid up in the top right-hand corner of most of the G Suite apps that you can use to select any of the other G Suite apps. So in your browser, you also have shortcuts. You can type in, classroom.google.com or mail.google.com. And as long as you're signed into Google, you'll be able to access any of those apps. So, yeah.
So before we get started, we want to talk about the Chrome browser. So because the Chrome browser was created by Google, Google just works better with Google. So we highly suggest you use the Chrome browser. It's the only way you're going to be able to install Chrome extensions that work well with some of these G Suite apps that we use. So the Chrome browser, you can log in to sync all of your settings, all of your bookmarks. One of the great things about the Chrome browser is it also allows you to go incognito. So this is only something employees, teachers can use. It doesn't work for students, but it allows you to check permissions, which is something that's really, really important when you're sharing documents. It also allows you to pin tabs so you don't accidentally close out a tab. I have this presentation pinned right now so I don't accidentally close it out while we're presenting. Again, you can add extensions and open any of those tabs. So use Chrome browser. That's our advice. And then let's jump into Drive. So Google Drive, right? We've discussed all of these applications, but your Google Drive is really like your storage. Think about your filing cabinet that you used to have in your classroom. Your Google Drive is that storage cabinet, but it's in the cloud. It's accessible to you from anywhere. You save inside of your Google Drive. It saves automatically. You never have to click that save button again. You can store any file type within Google Drive. So pictures, videos, JPEGs, PDFs, anything, even your office files you can save in Google Drive. It syncs from any device. You can share them everywhere, and you can view all of these activities in your Drive as well. And we know what Google's known for, right? The search. So within your Google Drive, let's say you can't remember where you put that document. You have no idea what folder it's in. The quick Google search with the advanced features, you can find that document in no time.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. So here we have an overview of the different features that are in Google Drive. And I'm going to go live in just a minute and kind of walk you through each and every one of these. But the important takeaways, and you can refer to this presentation at any time. Again, this is linked in the ELM course. And we have a much more comprehensive training and resources specifically on Google Drive that are on the EdTech website and here on our YouTube channel. So you can reference that. You'll also be able to reference this video and this slide at the end of the presentation to go back and pause and be able to review anything that we might be breezing through that you might want to spend some more time on. But let's talk about how to navigate your Google Drive before we actually go live and get into it. So as Rebecca said, you can search your Drive and for keywords. You don't have to search for the exact file name to pull up something that you've been looking for. You can also search people that you might have shared that document with or shared it with you. If you search their name or email address, it'll pop up right there in your searches. And you've also got different ways that you can kind of go through and store and organize and view different file types. We're going to get into this in more detail, and I think we're ready to go live, right?
All right, here we go.
Okay, so we're going to start out here square one. I haven't even signed into Google yet, right? This is just, I've logged into my district portal, and here you'll see all of my tiles, my apps and stuff like that for the school district. Now you will not see here the app selector, the waffle. So what we're going to want to do after we've signed into the portal is choose really any G Suite app, but the one that I prefer first thing when I log into the portal is to go into my email. And the reason for that is when you first sign into the portal, you're not necessarily automatically signed into Google. So you'll need to click on Mail that will sign you into Google. So I'm gonna click on that. And let's see here. I'm gonna change the screen that I'm sharing. Sorry. I want to share a different screen. Okay, you'll see me for just a second, but okay. So here I am in my email. I think that's showing up for everybody. And what I'm going to do after I've signed into Google is I can get an idea here of the different apps by selecting the app selector up here at the top, right? So if I select that waffle, as I like to call it, you'll see all of the main apps that you use. And what's really cool about this is you can take the ones that you use most often. So for me, it's Gmail and Drive, and I might use Classroom often and Docs. And you can click and just drag these around so that the most relevant apps for you are always up at the top. If you scroll down, you can see kind of a list of all the different apps that we have available to us in the G Suite. Now, we're not going to go into all of these today because we simply don't have time. But once again, make sure that you check out our YouTube channel and the EdTech website, and you can see comprehensive trainings on each of these individual applications. So we're going to start off by heading into Drive. All right, so Drive is going to load, and you will see a bunch of those navigational features that you saw in that slide just a little while ago. Over here on the left, you'll see something marked priority, and you can use this section of Drive to create what's called priority workspaces. Files that you might use often, you can add them into groups so that they're always there and that you can open those up together. You're going to see the tab that the part of Drive that you first open when you go into Drive is the My Drive section. And this is just in general what your Drive looks like. Now, with My Drive, you can change the way that all of this looks. I am a visual learner. I like to see tiles and thumbnails. But there are some that like to see, their files neatly organized in a list. So if you'd like to see that view, up in the top right-hand corner, you can click that looks like a piece of paper with a margin. And if you hover over it, it says List View. If you click that, it will reorganize your Drive, or at least the way that your Drive is displayed, and show you all of your files in a listed format. And the benefit of showing your files in a listed format, let's see if it loads here. When it eventually loads, you'll see all of the file information, including who the owner is, when you last modified it, and in some cases, the file size. Here I've got folders, so those aren't individual files to show sizes, but if I scroll down, it might give me that information with a couple of different things. So and you can also organize here instead of showing last modified by you. If you wanted to do last opened by me, show me my recent files. If you can also change in tile view, you can change the display in a couple of different ways and change how your files show up. So that's kind of step one. Get familiar with how your Drive is organized. Shared drives below the My Drive. I'm going to try to figure out some of my loading issues here. Shared drives are drives that are basically shared between teams. We're not going to go very deep into this today, but you and your coworkers, let's say that you're on a team of teachers, for a certain grade level or subject area, you can create shared drives that you can each move, files in and out of, which can be convenient for collaborative work. If you click on the Shared With Me section of your Drive, you'll be able to see in one place all of the different files that other people have shared with you, that other people have ownership of. And there are a ton here because I've been getting a lot of really great submissions from people that are enrolled in the ELM courses, seeing a lot of really cool work of, so my Shared With Me section of my Drive is it's huge right now. But you can kind of get an overview of that. One thing is that when people share files with you, they're not necessarily a part of your drive. There's a section for them in your drive, but you don't really have ownership over those files. If you wanted to kind of organize your shared with me section of your drive, you can't. Instead, you would have to add these as shortcuts to your drive and then organize those shortcuts. So if you right click on one of these files, and then you'll see here it says add shortcut to drive, that'll add it into your drive. So again, by clicking on my drive, and that kind of allows you to organize things. But in the shared with me, it's the wild, wild west, right? You can't really organize this stuff as much as you might like. But again, make use of that search option if you're looking for a specific file that someone has shared with you. The next part of Drive is the recent section, and this will show you all of your recent files that you've opened. Pretty simple. The last one that we're going to look at over here in the left-hand navigation menu is probably my favorite subfolder or sub section of your drive, and it's called the starred section. So these are files that I am marking as important. Just like you can bookmark websites in your Chrome browser, you can basically bookmark files in your drive that you know are important or that you are going to frequently use, and it'll collect them all here. Now, my starred is looking a little bit bigger than it usually does, and I don't recommend adding a ton of files to your starred section because it's very easy for things to get lost and bogged down. But I know that if these are the files that I'm mainly using throughout the day, I won't have to search through my drive to find them or just hope that they're in my recents. I can just add them to the starred section of my drive and be able to find them easily here. So how do you add a file to your starred section? Let me go back to my drive and pick a file that's not starred right now. Let's see. Let's say I want to add in this. This might already be starred. Yep, this is already starred. So when I right click on it, it gives me the option to remove it from starred. Instead, let me click on this one. I know this isn't in my drive. I've got this image here. So I'm going to, if I just right click, it'll bring up this sub menu and it says add to starred. If I just click that, the menu will go away and then it'll give me this notification down here, one file added to starred. And then if I go into starred, it will show up, maybe not right up at the top, but there it is, right there. So this is a feature that I really, really love, and it's a very simple feature to use. If you're getting files that are super important, hey, I don't want to forget about this, or hey, I don't want this to be, lost in the shuffle or moved to the bottom, just right click and star those files. It's a super, super easy way to stay organized and keep your most important files in one place. Okay, so if I go back to my drive, there's just a couple more things that we want to go over. Let's take a look at the new button up here. In your drive, you'll see this big plus new button that looks kind of important because it's multicolored. And it is a pretty cool feature of Drive because you can create files directly in Drive by clicking this button. You can create them out of thin air and then make them appear in Drive. If you're used to using Microsoft Office or something like that, if you wanted to make a new Word document, you'd have to open up Word and select File New and all of that stuff. And you still can do that with Google Docs, or you can just create a brand new file here in Drive first and then open it up. So if I click on plus new, it'll give me options here of what I want to create. Do I want to add a folder? Do I want to upload a file from my device, either my desktop or my phone or something like that? Or do I want to upload an entire folder? So teachers, if you've been working on stuff at home on, like, let's say a personal computer, and you know that eventually, ideally, we're going to get back in the classroom, and you say, well, I don't want to have to upload all of these files individually. You can upload entire folders to your drive and boom, just have them right there, which is super, super convenient. You also can, like I said, create single file types. So if you want to create a new Google Doc or a Google Sheet or a Google Slide, and then you can also click this button here or just hover over it, and it will give you even more options. Google Forms, Google Drawings, all the way down the list. And this is also how you can create new Smart Learning Suite online resources, which is part of different trainings that hopefully you'll check out. In this case, I think the only other thing that I really want to go over with Drive is organizing your files and folders. If, for example, I have something. Let's take a quiz that was done with my 11th grade students a couple years back. And this file no longer needs to be just in the unorganized section of my drive. I want to organize this into one of my folders. I've got folders here that I've set up, and I can just click and drag and move that into that folder. And after it processes, it'll disappear from my listed files and then give me a notification saying that quiz has been moved into a separate folder. I think for the time being, that's the most basic information that we need for Drive. And I think from here, we're going to move into... Rebecca, you there?
Yeah, how are you? I wasn't sure if we were going to go over sharing permissions at this point.
We are going to go over that. Thank you for reminding me. So sharing permissions. Let me bring my my drive back up here for a second and talk a little bit about this, if I can. So in Drive, you can share files directly with other people. Now you can do this within the applications themselves, or you can share directly from your drive. You know, I'm on the phone with a teacher friend or something like that, and I need to send them information or send them a resource guide or something like that. If I right click on it, once again, it'll give me the option to share that file. Right? We have the preview, we have open with, and there's share right there. So if I click on this button, I can search email addresses and share directly with someone else. I also have the option here to get a shareable link that I can share. In both cases, you're going to have to set sharing permissions. So let me go into this. I'm just going to click that plus share button. Let's say that Rebecca and I are working on something together, and I need to get this file to her immediately. So I'm going to right click and press share. Now, when this screen pops up, it's going to ask me what do I want to share it with. So right here, it says add people in groups. I'm going to start typing Rebecca's name. I won't even need to finish it, and it'll pop right up. I just select her name. And then here, I'm going to leave this box checked to notify people, because once I send this to Rebecca, she's going to get an email notification saying that I've shared this with her. On the right-hand side, I'm going to pick the edit access settings. Do I want to give Rebecca access to edit the file? Do I want to give her access to only view it? Or do I want to give her access to make comments and suggestions? Right. So from here, and kind of using these three basic ideas, we're going to talk about the sharing permissions in all files for your Google Drive.
All right, very good, very good. So now that we have gone over Drive, let's talk about some of these applications that you're going to be creating inside of your Drive. So your G Suite is the whole group of your applications. They're going to be stored in your Drive, but we're going to talk about how some of these applications are going to be beneficial for communication, collaboration with your colleagues, and also with your students. So Trent's going to give you an overview of some of these applications today. So we're going to quickly go through some of the things that we use to communicate with our students and our colleagues. We're going to start with mail. Now, I know everybody knows, why are we talking about mail? Like, I know how to email someone, right? I've been emailing since the late 90s, right? But there are actually some additional things that you can do in your email to help you stay organized and to just increase your productivity. And Trent's going to show you some of that right now.
All righty. So here, now I'm leaving my drive up here for a minute because I want to show you, I can actually use this to navigate back to my email. And the reason I'm doing this is because it might seem redundant, but we want to get in the habit of using the app selector to move between apps. So I'm going to click now on the Gmail icon, and oh no, I'm having trouble with this again. All right, I'm going to go back to and share my screen again. Chrome tab, and okay, so I've used the app selector to go back to my email here. Just clicked on the app selector and then went back to Gmail. So like Rebecca said, we know how to send emails. We know how to receive emails. That's the easy part, right? If you click on the plus compose button, this will bring up in your email the window that you can use to write your emails. What's really great, just like sharing settings, if you click on recipient and you begin to type someone's name, right there, it'll start popping up. And the reason it does this is because Google really quick searches through the Palm Beach County the schools or palmbeachschools.org domain to find the person that you're looking for, because we're all preloaded in there. As long as you've got a district account, you should show up in there. And that's really useful, because if you're like me, you spell people's names incorrectly and stuff like that. I can't find the person I'm looking for because, or, you address an email, it'll pop up, right away with the email up there. So that's really good. Now, right now, I have a blank email, and if I select this, it'll trash the entire email. But if I just close this, that email is saved, and it'll actually show up in my drafts. Right? So I've started typing this out, and there it is. So if you accidentally close something, it's still saved. It just shows up in your drafts until you actually either manually delete that email by pressing the trash can, or if you send it, and then it'll disappear from your drafts. All right, so that is the basics of sending and writing an email, drafting. Really great, but you already knew how to do that. So the next thing that we're going to look at, and I think that the most useful features of Gmail are the use of labels, and also Hangouts chat, which we'll get into in just a minute. So let's start with labels. So I'm going to open up a let's see here, what's a good one? All right, I'm going to open up an email a notification that I got from Calendar about a meeting that I had today. Now, what I can do if I want to keep this email organized for quick reference, or I kind of want to move it into a category of my inbox that I can search really easily, is I'm going to apply a label to this email. So if I look on my left-hand side over here under my inbox, I have labels here. I've got drafts, but right underneath that, I've got Summer PD, which is where I've put a lot of my emails that have to do with the G Suite overview course and the different ones that we've offered. I've got another one here that says Wi-Fi Warrior, and then this meeting is for that Wi-Fi Warrior task. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on my label, and I can select all of my pre-made labels, and I can just apply one, right? And then all of a sudden it labels that. Now, if I click on that Wi-Fi Warrior label, it will bring up all my emails that I've labeled with Wi-Fi Warrior, which is great. All of these are part of that little subset. But what if you don't have any labels yet? Well, we're going to create a new label, and I'll show you how to do that here. So if you, underneath where you have, where I see these, if you click on that More button, and you drop down, you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll find this right here, Create New Label. So what you can do is you can actually set these up before you go into use them this year. If you know that there are certain labels that you want to keep things organized, let's say, you've got school communication, you've got parent communication, you've got team communication, with your colleagues and stuff like that. You can set up labels ahead of time for all of those. And then as the emails come in, you just organize under that label. And then if you click on those labels, it'll bring up all the emails that you've put into there. The other benefit of using labels for me is the color coding. I know, without even reading the label, when an email comes in, if it's blue, I know that it's going to be a Wi-Fi Warrior. If it's green, I know that it's going to have to do with my Summer PD. So when you set up these labels, you can actually edit the colors. So for example, Summer PD, if I wanted to change the color, I would just hover over those three dots right there, and then I can change the label color by selecting this. And color coding is a really awesome organizational feature that you can apply to your labels. So that's one just really quick tip for keeping organized in Gmail. The other things that we're going to talk about, we've got down here. On the left-hand corner of my screen, yours might appear somewhere else depending on your settings, but this is Hangouts chat. And what this allows you to do is have quick chats with anyone that's in the district. You can just search their name. For example, if I wanted to create a new chat, I could just click on this plus button. It's kind of hard to see based on my background, but it's there. I can click that plus new button, and I can search people that I speak with frequently, or I can search someone's name to start a Hangouts chat. Now, Hangouts chats are different from email because there's while there are no emails sent, And it's just kind of like a quick way to get a hold of someone. Maybe it's not, an important or maybe it is an important or time sensitive thing and you need to get a hold of someone and get a reply immediately. You can chat them and it'll pop up on their side of email. You can also, once the chats have been sent, you can also search for them in your Gmail inbox. The chats will show up as almost in as lines in emails. So you'll see, it was a Hangouts chat, and you'll see the date, and you'll be able to pull those up. You can also, over here on the right hand side of the screen, there are shortcuts to Google Calendar and Google Keep that you can. It's just kind of like a quick access. So if I click on my calendar, it will pull up everything that I've got going on today. And you might see multiple colors here because I've got my calendar shared, and I'm getting shared calendars from a couple of different sources. So that's why mine looks a little colorful. We'll get into that in a minute. But it's a really nice little tip just to be able to click on calendar and see, hey, what do I got going on today? Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about with Gmail is if you click on the settings gear, you can change pretty easily the way that your Gmail inbox appears. Right, you can play around with some of these different layouts, and it will automatically change for like a bit of a preview. I've got mine set on comfortable, but if you want your email lines condensed, you can click on compact. That to me looks a little bit too. I don't know. I kind of like that. I might change that after this. We'll see. You can also upload and choose different themes to. You'll see the little kind of steampunky background I got here in my email, just because I think that's cool. And you can also change the way that your inbox looks based on type. So, this is the default. I can change my important emails come in first. Unread is always at the top. Your starred emails, because there's a starred feature in Gmail, just there like there is in Google Drive, that you can click on the little star next to an email and add it to your stars real quick. So you got all of these options to play around with. You can also change the way that this looks, and if you really want to get into some in-depth settings that we're not going to go into, you can click on this "See All Settings" button, and it'll allow you just got a Hangouts chat. It'll allow you to go through all of the really in-depth and comprehensive settings. This is where you set up an email signature and all that fun stuff. So with Gmail, the trick here is to find a setup that works for you, that improves your productivity and organization. There are a bunch of ways, especially by using the starred feature and the labels feature, to organize your emails. And there are a ton of display options that you can use to get something set up that works best for your productivity and your workflow. And with that, I think we're going to move now into
calendar. So another way to keep yourself organized, a way to plan events, to keep your schedule tight, is by using your calendar inside of G Suite. The great thing about the calendar is it syncs, like Trent just showed, with your email. It's always out there. It syncs with your Google calendars. You can add your colleagues' calendars. You can create new calendars. You can add other people's calendars, like the district has its own calendar. And shameless plug, EdTech training, we have our own calendar too. So you can see when all of our trainings are happening, when all of our office hours are happening. So it's just a great way to help you stay on track. So I'm going to let Trent kind of walk you through it a little bit.
Okay. So believe it or not, using my thank you, Rebecca, by the way, for the introduction. Using the app selector in the top right of my Gmail, I just easily found my calendar. And like I said, you can also access kind of a preview window of your calendar from Gmail by clicking the calendar icon. So I've gone to the app selector, I've selected calendar, and by default, it'll bring you, not yet. It'll bring you to your day, right? And then you can change the view of calendar to suit your needs. So let's say instead of a day view, I want to see what I've got going on this week. So up in the top right, I'm going to click that drop down that goes from day, and then I'm going to choose week. And then here, it'll display everything that I have going on. Now, the solid blue color in this case means that I have accepted that event, and it's something that I've replied to. Whoever sent me that invite knows that I've said yes, that I'm going to go. The white boxes mean that I have not yet selected that event, or I've not responded, RSVP'd to that event. And so if you want to RSVP to an event, I'm going to click on this one right here. It'll show you, now you'll get an email notification saying that you've been invited to a calendar event. So keep an eye out for those. It'll say notification, so-and-so has invited you to, and you can see, depending on the settings, you'll be able to see, is there a Google Meet setup, who the participants are, all of that good stuff. And then you can also RSVP to events by clicking yes, no, or maybe. So if I select, let's say, no, I'm not going to this, you'll see a strike through in that event. All right. If I say on an event, I'm going to click to open this one in RSVP. If I say maybe, you'll see these horizontal lines that are, they're colored with whatever color you have set up for your calendar. But the lines have been crossed through, and I've sent a notification saying I will maybe be attending. So you can use that color coding system to easily just kind of look and see, what do I got going on today? How have I RSVP'd to all of these things? And you can actually change your RSVP to an event if you click on the event. And then down here, if you just click on, instead of maybe, I'm going to click on yes. And then boom, it fills it in as a solid color. And then it says that I'm going to be attending. Okay, so this is just kind of how to view your calendar, how to understand what all of the different colors mean. You'll also see these grayed out, kind of, a little bit more transparent calendar events. That means that those events have already passed. They're no longer upcoming. Only the solid color things are things that are on the calendar for that day, week, whatever you have set up. And from week, you can also choose a month view. You can choose a year view. I don't know why you would do that, but it's there as an option if you wanted to. It'll show you the whole year, but it doesn't really show you any information about what you got upcoming. So I'm going to go back to day view. And really simply, we're going to talk about how to create an event in Calendar. Now, what you can do is you can kind of select a time frame and say, okay, I'm going to say between 12 and 12:30. I'm going to add this on here. If I select that time, it automatically comes up with what time range it thought I was clicking on, which is pretty useful. So here, I'm just going to say lunch. And then I'm going to say from 12 to, and then click on the drop down to change the time over here, 12:30, right? And I can choose an all-day event if I want to, and it'll block out the calendar for that whole day and put that event on there. I can also add guests to this calendar invite. So let's say I'm going to have a lunch break with Rebecca. I'm going to type her name in, and there she is. And then from there, I can also add, and this is a really useful and nifty feature of Calendar, I can add a Google Meet a video link. So all I need to do is just click that button that says Add Google Meet Video Conferencing, and there it is. When I send the invitation, she'll get a notification with the link to join that Google Meet at 12 to 12:30. So I can kind of browse some other options here. If you click on more options, it'll give you even more in-depth options. But if I click on save, right here, it gives me a notification. Would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guests? In this case, to Rebecca. I can click send, and by default, it has send. But you can choose not to send it, or you can choose to dismiss this. So for now, I'm just going to click on send, and there is my new calendar invitation or a new calendar event. Right? It tells me lunch, 12 p.m. If I click on that, it gives me an idea. Tells me that Rebecca hasn't responded yet. And if she does respond, you'll see a little check mark next to her saying that she is attending. But here is the meet link. For now, all I need to do is show up at 12. Now, in 10 minutes, based on my calendar settings, 10 minutes before the event, I'll get a notification email saying, hey, this is starting soon. And that's really the benefit of RSVPing yes to events, is that Gmail will automatically send you, or a calendar will automatically send emails to your Gmail account and give you a reminder. You also have the ability to share calendars with others, which is useful. You'll see all the people here that I have shared calendars with and that have shared calendars with me, and I can click on and choose to see those things appear on my calendar if I just check the boxes. So to share calendars with others, you can click on add. I'm sorry, to receive calendars from others, you can click on add other calendars, and you can use subscribe to calendar and search people's names to have them add. Or you can also share your calendar with others pretty much the same way. So that can be really useful because if I start clicking on other things, let's see what Rebecca's got going on. Here you go. I can now see Rebecca's calendar, and she's added up. We're stacked side by side. So all of these that I click, I'm going to be able to appear or be able to see all the things that we've got going on across calendars, which can be really useful for collaborative planning. Let's find a time that works for everybody. So I think that covers the basics of calendar. And I think, yeah, we're ready to go.
All right. Next up is Google Classroom. So we're going to be teaching remotely for a little bit at least. And so how are we going to keep our students engaged? Google Classroom is going to be one of the main ways that we do that. Of course, Google Classroom, we have done multiple trainings on this application because it is not just a quick overview 5-minute application. So I just want to encourage you to tune in with us on Thursday. John Shoemaker and Dana Rubenstein will be doing a session on Google Classroom getting started. We're just going to give you a brief overview today, so please stop in on Thursday. And if you aren't able to do it on Thursday, we do have tons and tons of resources, videos on our EdTech training website.
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. So here we have the general landing page for Google Classroom, right? So if you've never created a Google Classroom before, all that you're going to do is you're going to go to the app selector and click on Classroom, and it'll take you here. You can also just go to classroom.google.com, and it'll show up here as well. So I've got a couple sample classes here because I've done this before. But if you've never done this before, if you've never created a classroom, well, you're in luck because you're going to create one today. Very, very easy to get started. All that you need to do is click on the plus button in the top right that says create or join a class. If you click on this and then you click on create class, you have some options here. So it says class name. I'm going to say Summer PD Practice Class. And then you can choose things like section or period number, what subject it is, what room it's in, and you can input all that information. For the time being, I'm just going to leave that blank, and then I'm going to hit create. Now, once you hit that create button, it's going to take a little bit of time because what Classroom does is create a folder in your Google Drive. So it's right now creating that folder that you can find in a Classroom folder in Drive that will say Summer PD Practice Class. So like Rebecca said, we're not going to go into a ton of depth with Classroom because it really deserves its own training. So if you get the chance, stop by and check out John Shoemaker's PD that's upcoming. He is a fantastic font of knowledge, and he'll inspire you to do some really cool things with your classroom. So right now, we're just going to go over the basics. When you first load the class, you'll see your class name, the class code that you can share with students to get them to join, and then you see this option to generate a Meet link. Now, what's really cool is that you can generate a video conference Meet link from within Classroom just by clicking that little button. So if I do that, I'm just going to follow up here. It says with Meet video settings, you can connect with students for distance learning. You can manage Meet in your class settings. I'm going to generate that Meet link. It's visible to students, meaning they'll see it up there on the banner, and then I'm going to hit save. When that happens, the Meet link is there and will remain there for your students. So the first thing that they see when they log into your Google Classroom is this right here, the Summer PD Practice Class, or the class name, your class name, and then their Meet code. So based on when you're meeting with them, they'll know, where do I look to find the Meet code? Right there. Now, the benefit of creating a Google Meet within your classroom is also a little bit of added security. The students can't join Meets created within Google Classroom unless you are already there. And as long as you make sure you are the last person in the room, it will lock as soon as you leave. Right, so that little extra added security is a real benefit of creating Meets from within Google Classroom. So this page in general, overall, we call this page the stream. And here, the stream works pretty much like a social media feed, where most recent posts by you that you make in other parts of Classroom, like the classwork tab, will automatically show up on the stream page. Or if you write something here and share it with your class, And you can choose to add an attachment like this, but for now I'm just going to do a text-based post. It'll show up right at the top of the stream. So this is kind of like an overall, like, what's going on, what's happened recently type thing. Over here, you'll see if you've given any work with due dates, you'll see those things pop up over here under the upcoming tab. But really the major part of your work is going to come from this area here, the classwork tab. On the classwork tab, you can do exactly what it prompts you here. You can create assignments and questions. You can create topics, which are like categories to organize classwork. And you can change the way that you want students to see things. Now, that's an important difference between classwork tab and stream. The stream, you can't really reorder and reorganize things. It automatically goes from most recent posts at the top and then descends to older posts towards the bottom. But the classwork tab, you can reorganize and see how you or reorganize to how you see fit. Now, if I want to create an assignment for my students to work on, I'm just going to click on this plus create button, and it's going to give me some options. Assignments, quiz assignments, questions, materials, and then I can reuse posts. So assignments, you can use this to create, let's say that you've got a Google Doc, then you want them to all get a copy of it and edit it. You can click on assignment. And then if I add some kind of attachment here, let's attach something from my Google Drive. Let me slow down a little bit. Sorry. I'm going to say here that this is a sample assignment. I'm going to include any instructions in this tab here, and then I'm going to add an attachment. And to do that, I'm going to click on that add button. I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and then I'm going to find something. I have a Venn diagram here. Here we go. I'm going to insert this into my my assignment. So I've created an attachment or added an attachment from my drive that I created in Google Drawings, right? And you can do this with Google Docs. You can do this with Google Slides presentations and such. But what you can choose to do is change the way that you distribute this file to students. So right now, I'm just posting this and allowing the students to be able to click that link and see my Venn diagram. But if I want to give them access to edit that file, if I want all 26 or however many students in my classroom to edit that single file, I'm going to say students can edit file. Now, I don't know about you, but let's say I'm a fourth grade teacher. I'm not going to give, 18 fourth graders the ability to edit a single document in this case, because that's just going to be chaotic. But there are uses for it. If you assign them a Google Slides, for example, every student has their own assigned slide and they can edit that. That would be a good use for it. But I think instead, I'm going to select make a copy for each student. Now, what this will do is if a student clicks on that, it will automatically create a copy of this Venn diagram in his or her drive. And it'll do that for every single student. Now, when the students go to open it, they've got their own copy, they can edit it, and then they can turn that back into you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say sample assignment. I've selected make a copy for each student. Let's say that this assignment's going to be 10 points. I can set up due dates by selecting, let's say this is going to be due on Friday. And then if I have any topics, they can be added from this dropdown. I can also create topics and say Venn diagrams. Maybe I'm doing a unit on that or something. So from there, I can assign this to my students by clicking the assign button. I can also schedule this assignment for later, save it as a draft, and come back and work on it before I assign it. But for now, I'm just going to assign it. After this file is assigned, I'm going to go back into my classwork. Now I've got a topic here. You'll see my topic appear on the left. And then if I go back to the stream tab, you will see that I posted an assignment here as well. Right? It says Trent Lobster posted a new assignment. If I click on that, it'll take me right into that assignment, and it'll show me what instructions I left and what attachments were and stuff like that. So I know that was a lot. It was quick, and that's why I'm really recommending. Please make sure that you check out John Shoemaker's PD on Google Classroom, because he gets really in depth.
Thank you, Trent. So we are getting a little short on time today, so we're just going to do a quick, overview. Trent really went over Hangouts chat when he went over mail. So just know that that chat in the spring, we had chat open to students. So the only update with chat is that the chat has been disabled for all students. So chat is only available for our teachers now. And then Google Meet. Google Meet, again, is our video conferencing app. This is how you're going to be doing your live streams with your classes through Classroom. Shu is going to go over that on Thursday. We also have a ton of resources on Google Meet. Google did announce last week all of their upcoming features for this month, all the way through December. So we do have that updated on our website. And as soon as those features become available, we will then do some live streams to keep you guys up to date. So we're going to jump into the creation and collaboration piece. There's so many different things that you can create and for collaboration purposes with your students and with your colleagues. And we're just going to jump right into the first one, which is Google Docs.
Alrighty, awesome. So thank you, Rebecca. So we've got in Google Docs is basically what you can think of as like the Microsoft Word equivalent, or Google's Microsoft Word equivalent. And all that I've done here is I've gone to docs.google.com by selecting from the app selector and just selecting Docs right there. So what's really great about Docs is they have some incredibly useful templates that you can choose from when you're creating a new doc. So if you go and click on Docs in the app selector, you can just create a blank doc by clicking there, or you can search in the template gallery by clicking that drop down. It'll show you all of the templates that you have available to you. And for now, I think I'm going to click on just a very basic sample lesson plan. Now, we aren't going fully in depth with a ton of different tools that are very similar to Docs, but it's worth mentioning that if you're familiar with the Microsoft Office products, Google Docs is the equivalent of Microsoft Word, and Google Slides is the equivalent of PowerPoint. Google Sheets is the equivalent of Excel. So all of these programs work very much like you'd expect them to, based on programs that you're already familiar with. There's a couple of key differences, though. One major difference is that all of these, as you create them, are stored in your drive. As soon as you create them, they show up in your drive. Not only that, they also save automatically in your drive as you edit them. So, for example, if you look at my screen up at the top here, it says last edit was made seconds ago by Anonymous. Now, if I change something in this document, and then I click off of that, it'll save up here and say last second was edits ago, or last edit was seconds ago, and it was me that made that edit. So not only do these are these documents stored in Google Drive, but they save there automatically, and that's the same for all of your G Suite apps. All of the edits that you make in different applications will save as you work on them. There is no need to click File, Save. Or if your power goes out and you accidentally, oh no, I've lost everything. No, you didn't, because it was automatically saved in Drive. So that is one of the fantastic features of Google Drive, and it's one of the things I love the most. So in addition to it saving automatically, and again, this is the same for slides and sheets and forms and all of the other G Suite apps. I can go in and I can check to see what edits have been made and when. So if I say, here my standards, or if I say the overview, what do I want students to students will learn about, and then go on from there, and I can kind of write what the learning goal or learning objective is. If I go to File and then click on Version History, or if I click on Last Edit was seconds ago, each of these things will take me to the same place. I can click on this and I can see what edits were made, by who, and when they were made. So you'll see that I've made 2 edits in this document, and they are both here. If I click on this first edit, it'll show me what did this thing look like before I started editing it. Here's the brand new document. If I click on this, it'll show me that first edit that I did to change the name of the lesson. And if I click on this, it'll show what I changed here. So if you ever share a document with someone and they edit it and you're saying what happened, I don't, or oh no, I've changed something that I didn't want to change. Every edit and revision that you make or anyone makes that you've shared that document with can easily be found in the version history. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about is sharing from a document itself. I know that we're running short on time, so I'm going to wrap this up. This will be the last thing that we're able to discuss today. But in Docs, if you click on that share button and you share with someone, go ahead and share it with Rebecca, and I'm going to invite her as a commenter. So viewer, meaning she can just see the file. Editor, she has access to edit the file just like me. But I'm going to say commenter. Now, this gives her access to come in and make suggestions, and she can also comment on different things that are in the file itself. So if I want to show you what that looks like, if I click on editing and then go to suggesting, I can say, instead of cycle, I'm going to say process, the rock process, which is a horrible suggestion because nobody calls it that. So when I come in, I can, oh, there's Rebecca. She just popped in. There she is. I can either choose to accept or reject any suggestion that's made. So this is a horrible suggestion. I don't even like it. I'm going to click on this X button, and it's going to give me the option to reject a suggestion. Now think about the possibilities here in terms of collaborative team planning. You've got everybody in your department that's working on a draft. You're adding stuff together. And this is a great, you'll see a suggestion in real time. Rebecca put a comment on this using the comment feature. She said, what will they learn? So yes, it works for collaborative planning, the ability to accept or reject suggestions, but also commenting. If you want to make a comment on a draft that you can have at least comment access on, you can just select something and you'll see a box pop up over here on the right as you select it. If I click off, it goes away. But if you select that, it pops up on the right. You can also find the comment function up here in the top. But if I click on that, I can add a comment. And you'll see that Rebecca's also tagged me in that comment. If you click up plus and then pick somebody from the list, you can assign comments to people that will send them a notification. And they are responsible for clearing that away. So just a couple of things that you're able to do with Docs. All right, I know that we're on time. So Rebecca, is there anything that I missed that we need to go over before we close things out?
No, we're just going to quickly go through some of the other applications that are available to you. Like Trent said, most of the things that you can do in Docs, you can do in Sheets. So Sheets is just Google's version of a spreadsheet. You can still use that version history, commenting, all of those fun things, collect some data. And then slides, that's going to be our presentation mode. We're using slides right now, as a matter of fact, so you can see how well that works within the G Suite. Google Forms. Now, this one is kind of its own application. This is how you're going to collect data, how you're going to quiz your students. Please visit our website. We have several live streams that we did on forums, along with many resources. And John Shoemaker will go over this a little bit as well within Google Classroom on Thursday. Additionally, if you're looking to jump into some more advanced features, Google also offers its drawings, a Google Keep, which is kind of like sticky notes, and then Google Sites. You can actually create your entire website, and we have a great stream on Google Sites from John Shoemaker on our website, and look forward to one on Keep coming up this fall. We have one scheduled. We're not scheduled, but we're planning on it, and then on drawings as well. So we're going to wrap this up with a little bit of information regarding ELM and our websites. We'll go ahead and hop into that unless you have anything else to add, Trent.
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Awesome. So again, our EdTech support site is edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. We will continually add additional resources throughout the year. There's a ton of stuff on there now. If you have any questions about any of that, you can email any of us on the training team. There's also some additional resources. These slides are posted on our website, some different videos that you can watch, some different resources on the applications, as well as Google's own Teacher Center, which has great resources. Trent, you want to give them the lowdown on ELM?
Okay, so when you go into ELM, if you'd if you're doing this for the summer PD badge completion, or you want some in-service points based on the overview that we've done today, we do have the ability for you to earn those in-service points by completing follow-up activity. So all that you need to do is to make sure that you enroll in the correct e-learning management course. So the course code for this session, it says there at the bottom, like where that you see that blue box on the screen that says live 8.4. You're going to find the one that says live 8.25, and because that's the date of today's live stream. So all that you need to do is look for the course that says live 8.25, and you can search G Suite in e-learning to be able to find that. Enroll in that course, and you want to make sure that you sign and enroll by Friday, because enrollment closes on Friday. The course doesn't close. You'll still be able to add work into it until I think it's like September, but you want to make sure that you enroll by Friday to make sure that you have that opportunity to earn that in service. There are steps on there for submitting evidence for implementation. Basically, you're going to give evidence of 3 different G Suite applications that you used or are going to use with your students to increase their learning and improve your workflow, and just include either a screenshot or a link to certain files that you can share.
Sorry about that. I clicked.
No, you're good.
So we do have our upcoming office hours next Thursday. We're not having office hours this Thursday because we do have our live streams going on all day Thursday. But our next office hours will be next week, and we're moving them from 11:30 to 12:30 to try and give everyone an opportunity to pop in during lunch, because I know that everybody's going to be teaching next Thursday. But if there's anything that we can do to help you, please pop in during office hours. If you're unavailable at that time, please feel free to email us. We also have an upcoming Twitter chat, and we're going to be using The Dot. So if you haven't read The Dot, it's an awesome book. It's on Tumble Books. The International Dot Day is September 15-ish. So it's perfect timing for us to have a Twitter chat to talk about some of those SEL strategies that we're using in our classrooms.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Or do you want to do the outro?
You go for it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got excited because I saw my own face.
Right.
Yeah. No. Right. So the last thing is really it's really one of the best things. Thank you so much for being here with us and giving us the opportunity to spend the morning with you. It's in addition to doing the live streams and stuff like that, we're here to help you. So if you're going through any of these applications, you've got questions, feel free to reach out to me, send me an email, and let me know how I can support you with either this or the e-learning course, whatever it is. So on behalf of the entire training team and everybody on EdTech, thank you so much for learning with us today. And if you need any assistance at all, don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ashley. We really, really appreciate you being here. Have a great morning.